Well, I want to welcome everybody to Faith Meets Therapy. Faith Meets Therapy with Andre and Cynthia, and so glad to have you. This is episode number one. This is our first episode, and we are so excited what we're going to be bringing to you throughout many episodes. Basically, our subject and theme is faith meets therapy, right? And we just truly believe that it's going to help so many people. It's going to free so many people. It's going to release so many people and educate so many people as well. Not only in the church, but as well outside the church, right? And so we are here, and we're here for you all, and we hope that you will share this podcast, and whether it's on YouTube, social media, we hope that you will be able to share this and really be blessed by it. So, of course, my first guest will also be my co-host. She is, I'm not going to name any pastries off, but she's my babe, she's my wife, she's my partner, she's everything to me. She's my best friend, she's my confidant, she all that and a bag of chips and onion dip on the side. So I want to introduce to you and present Dr. Cynthia. Yeah, Cynthia, she go by many titles, but, Cynthia, we welcome you here.
Thanks.
First guest and co-host. You're going to co-host with me throughout. We're going to have other guests on the platform. And you and I, we're gonna talk and check because we used to it. That is what we do. We do it often, do it a lot, early in the mornings, so forth and everything else, right?
Right.
And so what I first want to do is just kind of introduce you a little bit and present her just a few moments. She is, because she's going to go into a little bit more, but she's a certified Christian counselor. She went to North Carolina College of Theology. She received her degrees. She went about 5 years, I believe. It's not longer than that. She probably know that it's longer than that. But she definitely earned her degree, got her, eventually got her doctorate after her master's. She got her doctorate in theology.
Yes.
And of course, she partners with me in ministry here in Anniston at New Light Apostolic Center. She's an incredible elder, incredible first lady here, spiritual mom to so many different people here. So we can't wait for you to hear from her in a few moments after these messages here.
Anger management classes for individuals and groups. Learn how to be assertive, recognize triggers, stress and conflict management skills, and apply emotional intelligence. For more information, call 1-251-308-1919 or email Andre, ANDRA, at tlccounseling.online.
All right, so I want to welcome you back. We are here once again, like I said, episode number one. This is day one. And of course, I have my wife, co-host, but as well, guess what, y'all? She's the first guest. And so right now at this moment, I'm going to go ahead and be able to introduce her, present her to you all. What's up? Okay. All right, so I presented so many different titles to you and so forth. So this kind of gives a background of your spiritual journey, your spiritual education, and how everything led up to mental health. How did that begin and start?
Well, he told you my credentials. Thank you for that.
Yep.
But actually, to lead up to the point that where I am now, really was the grace of God. I can remember, I'm sure a lot of people have, been through this where you drop people.
Right.
You drop people, they want to conversate with you about their problems, or they'll tell you, you're an easy listener, or I don't know why I'm spilling out all my problems to you.
Right. They just felt comfortable.
They felt comfortable.
Right.
And that has happened to me majority of my life.
Right.
And at that time, I didn't add or the spiritual part didn't come in till later about what was going on and why people was drawn to me.
the spiritual awareness,
the
right?
spiritual awareness.
So it's like you was already operating in it,
operating in it.
but the spiritual aspect didn't really come on till a little bit later.
Later.
Okay.
Until really, it's basically when I got into church.
Okay.
A very good teaching church. And wonderful apostle, wonderful teacher, preacher, all of that in a bag of chips. And but when I actually start hearing the word and learning more about God and His love, that I started to realize, okay, there's a reason behind all this, you know. And with my spiritual awareness, my spiritual growth, and getting into school, wasn't planning, but getting into school, going through those degrees and everything, and learning more and more about the Bible and God.
Which is important, right?
It's very important.
Eventually becoming that Christian counselor.
Right.
It's more than just experiencing life. No, it's you sharing, you actually partnering with the Holy Spirit, right? So, in order to partner with the Holy Spirit, you got to know some scriptures.
You have to.
So, so God really orchestrated your life, whether you
really
knew
did.
what was going to happen at the end. He was just leading you.
He really did, because getting into this counseling, becoming a counselor, Christian counselor, it wasn't planned for me, because I knew it was available, and at the time we needed a certain amount of people, and I wasn't planning on doing it. It sort of like fell into my lap, but it didn't, because everything happened for a reason, and I can see now where God was just nudging it along. You're like, okay, you know, I'm heading.
And that's how He does, right?
He does.
He doesn't really like kick you. You know, sometimes I don't know. Some people may experience the kick in the pants experience, but often what He does, He's kind of just nudge us.
He really do, because in my testimony, you know, I was through with school.
Right.
I got this and this and no.
All the papers, I ain't writing no more papers.
I'm tired of writing papers.
And see, if people got to realize that when you are in college, in university, whatever the case may be, there's a lot of writing.
It's a lot of writing.
It's a lot of writing. And so I can completely understand and relate. Hey, I'm finished with all that. I got my degree. I'm done. But God wasn't finished.
He wasn't. It don't matter the age either, because I'm like, I'm too old for this. My mind don't work like that anymore. But when I started taking this class, the therapy class, Christian therapy, and faith in therapy, and boy, it opened up so much on me. It's like looking into a mirror, and it breaks it down so well of the technical part of it, and then the spiritual part of it, and that's what I loved about it. And so I find myself really, really enjoying it, and like I didn't like, you know, still write the papers. Right. But that was it. It still showed the papers. Sometimes those papers was about me. I had to write about my spiritual growth, and in order to help others in theirs, I had to learn about mine and where I was at. Now,
you know, I think, and this is an important aspect, the school that you referred to, that we have. We got a new cohort, a group of people that's going through the school now, the Christian counseling school now. And I think it's important to kind of mark the difference, but some similarities and some advantage and disadvantage here is, you know, I'm a state licensed professional counselor, right, in the state of Alabama. And of course, my main preference of clients is in the Christian area, but however, you know, I welcome everybody, of course. But with you all, and of course, you know, I had to go through certain training, development, qualifications, and hours, and so forth, and all of that. But the good thing about Christian counseling, especially the school that we have, is not licensed, but it is certified. So there are certain regiment qualifications, core training that you have to have, because this is serious stuff.
It's very serious.
And when we dealing with somebody, mental health, emotional health, relational health, spiritual health, and all that is very important, because that make up the holistic part of that person, the whole being of that person. Right. So there's certain training you need. Yes,
very much so, because, you know, when I mentioned earlier about people was drawn to me to talk with them. And then when I became first lady, a lot of people, I was drawing people from there. They were like, well, she know this and she know this. And yes, I would talk and counsel, but after going through this class, it was like, okay, so now I know the right way and the techniques of it. And even the posture, your facial expression. I
Right.
mean, it was so much.
Basic attending skills.
It was so
Right.
much to I didn't know.
Right.
Body language.
Because we communicate, at least 80% of our
Yes.
language is through the body,
Yes.
more so through the mouth.
So learning all that and then applying it, the technical side of it,
Right.
and then the spiritual side of it,
Right.
realizing, okay, you can't solve this. This is not about you solving their
Right.
problem. It's about showing them who God is.
Yes.
And Jesus is. And
Yes.
all that ties together
Yes.
because we need that
Right.
in church.
Yes.
We really need that,
Yes.
the counseling, but we need also someone who knows what they're doing. Because like you said, it's very important.
So, you mentioned that, and we're going to talk about that in the second segment. But you as an individual person, did you realize beforehand how much this aspect of the church was in need of as far as mental health? Or did you realize it after you got into it and then you realized, wow, this is a need?
Well, I knew it was something that we needed in the church, but I didn't understand it, how much we needed to. I got into this because it's like, when I see people now, we always, like something's going on with them or that.
Right.
But it's
Right.
like,
The awareness.
What happened to them? Now I'm like, well, what had happened? What had happened to you? What
Yeah.
has happened to you in
Yeah,
your past?
we studied that.
Yes.
It's a
and
difference
like,
between saying what's wrong with you,
Yes.
and it's a better way of understanding. You just say it.
Yes.
What happened?
What
happened
to this
to
person
you?
at this
Right.
point in their life, and now they seeking help,
Right.
but they don't know how.
Because a lot of people, I think that's what shies a lot of people away from church is that the phrase is "What's wrong with you?" And now they are feeling some kind of way.
Right.
Like, okay, something's wrong with me, and maybe it's an isolated thing where it's just only me that's feeling this way,
Right.
and no one else is feeling this way, and maybe the church can't fix me because something is wrong with me.
Right.
But it's not so much what's wrong with you, is what happened to
What
you.
happened? What
Right.
happened to you? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and to be in a safe place where you're able to talk to someone who has certain training and skill set and God, the presence of God, hey, you better unravel
And isn't it
what's
amazing?
wrong.
when
What happened?
When they ask for prayer, like, okay, yeah, prayer is great.
Mhm.
We're not even going to say it's not.
Right.
But when you could add something to help them
Exactly.
along the way, okay, now we're going to pray because can do this. God is able.
Exactly.
But let's go into it deeper of why,
Wow.
so we could help you get, give you the steps
Yeah,
to go more toward Him, so you can trust Him more.
right.
So it's awesome. I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's
and
great.
very needful.
I thank God that He guided me to take this course because I see people, make you see people differently.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's all about getting to the point of first seeing who you are, where you are in your
Yes.
spiritual growth, and then you can help the others
Right.
where they are at their spiritual growth
That's good.
to, take those steps
Yeah.
to spiritual growth.
Yes.
More
Yeah.
maturity,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it really is, right? It's
Yeah.
it's a journey of faith. It's a
journey
walk
of
of faith.
Yeah.
And when we say faith, we're not necessarily saying, well, you don't have enough faith. It's just where you are
Where you
on your
are,
faith walk,
right.
right? I mean,
Right.
and sometimes we get hindered along the way. We stumble along the way.
Oh, yeah.
And so forth. Or sometimes we just start walking.
Yeah.
And we just steady still because something happened.
Yeah.
And what can we do to help you to get back moving,
Right,
It's
right.
like you can only go for so long in a car driving before you got to make a pit stop.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get some gas. You got to rotate the tires. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do that.
Right.
You can't keep moving in life without putting to the side and doing some maintenance, some pre-maintenance.
Yes.
Emotionally, spiritually, mentally, you need that for your marriage. You need that for your personal health. You need it for everything in life.
Yeah. Right.
Everything in life, So, wow, that's really, really, really amazing. So, listen, real quickly, we got more exciting things to talk about. What's sent here. Got some more questions. Want her to be able to answer and share with you all. But at this moment, we're going to share just a couple of messages of commercial here. All right, just a few moments.
Anger management classes for individuals and groups. Learn how to be assertive, recognize triggers, stress and conflict management skills, and apply emotional intelligence. For more information, call 1-251-308-1919 or email Andre, ANDRA, at tlccounseling.online.
All right, welcome back so much. We are here again with Cent. And I call her, I don't know what I call you. I call you Cent sometimes. I call you Cynthia sometimes.
Cool.
So I said, yeah, yeah. when I get to a point where I'm like, girl, I don't even try to call her name.
I feel a counseling session coming
No,
on.
it's not even a counselor session. I'm like, I don't even want to deal.
I'm not that
I don't want to
bad.
deal.
I'm not that
You know. And I said, God. They were like,
I do
I'm
the
like,
same thing,
well,
my boy.
she does the same to me.
Look, boy.
Child, you know what I'm saying? You know, but we're gonna keep it straight.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right.
But so anyway, yeah. So what I like to talk about now is we kind of left off with how important, how much a need mental health is with the church. So let me go in a roundabout way. Why do you believe it has not been a part of the church in a very in-your-face type way? Mental health.
Tradition, probably tradition.
Now break that down. What do you mean by tradition?
Well, you got a problem, let's pray about it. And that's
Okay.
it.
Okay.
You know, instead
Right.
of going, a little further,
Right.
question, and then in our belief, okay, prayer, it does answer everything.
Oh, it's helpful. It's a great tool.
Right. But is there something extra that they need?
Right. Right.
So that's why I say traditionally,
Yeah.
we just pray about it and let them go. And
Yeah.
then you could hear sometimes when someone's comfortable with you, they will mention it. I have
Right.
had people come to me and like, all they want to do is pray. That ain't helping me. Yes, it is helping you.
Right.
But you need a little extra. You need something else.
Yeah,
going on.
it's happened, and God add more tools, right?
Right.
I mean, God give us a tool bag. And if the only tool that we're familiar with is that hammer,
Exactly.
then what we do, we'll see a screw rather than a nail,
Yes.
and the only tool we're familiar with is that
Exactly.
hammer. So we'll hammer that screw in,
Right.
and we are messing up that screw, right? Because
Yeah.
that's another tool that we can use
Right.
to be able to get it in there. And God's still in it.
Yes, He
He's
is.
still in it.
He
And so,
is.
like I said, traditional way of solving problems in the church. God is not limited just by prayer alone. You know what I'm saying? It's an effective, incredible tool.
Oh, yes.
Most
definitely.
It's that tool should never be substituted or
That's right.
replaced. We're not saying that, but we're saying add to.
Yeah. Yeah. And then another one is understanding.
Understanding mental health. The importance of mental health.
Yes.
Okay, so talk about that.
Well, I didn't understand,
Okay.
until
So in
someone.
other words, was it spooky?
It wasn't spooky. It just
Okay.
cliches. We don't need therapy. Or,
Oh,
we never
yeah, we
thought
don't
about
need therapy. Right.
We don't need therapy.
Or what happens in the house
Stays in the house.
stays in the house.
We don't tell everything.
And that's not good,
It's not good.
right?
when you
Because
need help.
if it stays in the house, that's exactly what they're doing.
It's doing it.
It's
yeah.
staying in the house, which is not healthy for nobody who's living in that house.
Because one thing I learned about doing the counseling, one of the classes is we can't do it on our own.
Right.
We
Right.
can't do it.
Well, no man or woman can really exist alone.
Right.
You know, I mean, we were birthed in this world somehow through companionship. We need someone else to survive. You know, when you was born, you didn't just start doing whatever.
Yeah.
After you were born, you needed someone to feed you. You
Right.
needed someone to care for you. You needed someone to do all that, to clothe you, all the different type of stuff.
Right.
So we weren't designed to fend for ourselves
Right. Right.
at all. So let me ask you this right here, Dan. What do you think about it's somebody say, this based on what you just said earlier about traditional and traditional tools, only use this. And don't get me wrong, I fully believe in this, I know you do too, that you got Jesus, you got everything, right? However, some people believe that since I got Jesus, I got everything, I don't need help in mental health, right? Mm-hmm. Because I got Jesus. Mm-hmm. I got Jesus, I got everything. My voice calls the lights. But anyway, I have heard people say that. Yeah. And I believe, you tell me what you think, but I believe, yes, Jesus is a doctor.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And you know the saying, he never lost a patient. Mm-hmm. And that is true. But even though he's a doctor, that doesn't mean you don't need to go to a physician. Right? Mm-hmm. He's your, what's another thing? He's your advocate. He's your attorney. If you get called to go to court, and you tell the judge, well, Jesus is my lawyer, and the judge said, where he at? And so you need an attorney. And I look at this, just like, we understand that Jesus is the bridegroom, right, for the church, the bride, which is the husband. Mm-hmm. So that means that, well, Jesus is my husband. That means that you don't need a husband now. You were to come up to me and you were to tell me, well, Jesus is my husband. Well, hey, you need Jesus to pay this bill for you. My point is that, yes, Jesus is our everything. Mm-hmm. But it does not mean that Jesus doesn't provide what we need in this earth, right, like mental health.
Right. Let me see. I could say that, for an example, something's going on with your body.
Right.
You want to pray for it, but you want to pray for the right thing.
Right.
So the best way to do is go ahead and go to the doctor.
That's good.
To see what it is.
That's good.
Once
Get a physician.
Once you realize what it is, then you got something you can pray
right.
about. I got high blood pressure. Let me pray on this thing, and we're gonna work this thing. Plus, I got to realize what I'm doing wrong. Mm-hmm. I got to eat right. Mm-hmm. I got to do this. Cause you can pray all day for a person, right, if they still continue to do what they're doing that cause they issue.
Right.
They will never get healed because
right. Because you're not targeting the issue.
You're not targeting the issue. Right. So that's how I see mental health. Something going on.
Right.
What happened? You gotta. That person
emotionally,
might like. I'm going around and around in this circle.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Not breaking that cycle.
I need somebody to help me. Mm-hmm. Finally, break down like, okay, God, I need somebody to help me. God would guide them to it.
Right. Someone who's equipped.
Right.
Trained. Right.
And
spiritual.
some people don't know what's going on until they talk to someone. They find out they could trust. They like, so this is the problem. Let's get you to these steps you're playing where this prayer, this meditation, this whatever,
right,
and get you to this point with Jesus, because Jesus is this.
Right.
That's what a Christian
right,
counselor,
right,
and but they recognize and point out, okay, this is what's going on.
Right.
You have this fear of this.
Yes.
Or you have this anxiety. This trigger is causing you anxiety. So
right,
let's take these steps into helping you get better
right,
with Jesus.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's very important.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just mentioned something. You slipped something right on in there that I wanna point out. You mentioned about trust.
Yes.
There gotta be some trust with a person who's bringing their issues, their problems. How important is that? Because that's not something that is easy for people to do.
It's not.
To go to a stranger and to pour out their heart. How important is trust?
Well, it takes time.
Right.
And once that person realizes this counselor or therapist, they can trust them with their inner thoughts.
Yeah.
And then that client.
That's good.
And then once that client start to have that relationship of trust, then that good counselor, a good therapist with the faith in Christian, they were like, look, this is the one you put your trust in, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Yes. He's the one that's going to solve your problem. It's just that you need to know where you're at.
Right.
So then we can pinpoint on where we can work at.
That's good.
I'm only giving you the steps on how to.
That's
but
good.
I can't solve it. You need to put your trust. You trust me to listen and help you, but put your trust in God.
Yes.
Because that's where your healing
Right.
is gonna come. It's
Right.
God. He's the all-time healer.
Right.
So-
He's the counselor. He's the comforter. He's the one that's going to stick with you
Yes.
for the rest of your life.
Because the council won't be there.
They only be there for a certain amount of
Right.
time throughout the week
Yeah.
or whatsoever.
But when this trigger hit again, okay, I give you the
we get into
steps.
we get into steps, we get into
So
tools.
when it's come up,
Right.
then you pray.
Right.
You know why you praying, who you praying to, and you know your faith is there.
Right.
So you could believe and trust in God.
And use those scriptures
And
as
use
well.
the scriptures,
Right.
yes.
Right. So there's so many vast
Got
tools
excited.
that's okay. You get excited too. Praise God. But there's so many different tools that God give us, and we use the scriptures, we use the Spirit of God along with those therapy tools, those
Yes.
therapeutic tools, because they are there, they are necessary to use, and I love what you said. The prayer, the believing, the trusting in God, along with therapy,
Yes.
right? If you need therapy.
Yes.
And it's just what the podcast is named.
Right.
Faith
Faith.
meets therapy.
Yes.
And what a mind-blowing experience that is.
Yes.
So anything you want to share with us that we didn't cover that maybe on your heart and on your mind that you want to cover, faith meets therapy and so forth?
I pray that people will become aware
Yeah.
of that they are in need, because you cannot get help unless you're aware that you need help.
Right.
And I pray that people will walk out on faith, because it's many,
Yeah.
even the children.
It's
You'd
a
be
lot.
amazed about the children.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
and listen to your children, or they might
Don't
be,
underestimate.
yes, don't underestimate a
Yeah.
child, because even though they have a short lifespan, you don't know
Of being a child.
a child.
Yeah, being a
of
child.
being a child.
Right.
You don't, yeah.
Make
I'm
sure I
thinking
put that
about
out
children
there.
now,
Short lifespan
That's a
of being a child
child.
before they become an adult.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, that. Yes. But listen to, even if they're not children.
Right.
But listen to the people. Listen
Right.
to your loved one. Listen to the member of your church. Listen to the pastor. Listen
Right.
to the your spouses. I mean, you have to really listen. Like, okay, maybe there's more that we need.
Right, yeah,
And
yeah.
yes, they can talk to you.
Yes.
You
They
know,
can.
They
They
can talk
should,
to
right.
you. But listen, like, if you know you can't help them, because this is something.
Yes.
We always, it's battle in the mind. It's a mindset. Yes, it is.
It is.
And sometimes people just don't know how to get
That's
from
true.
one point to the next point.
That's so true.
So
That's so true.
I just pray that people would just be aware of when,
Right.
It
Right.
is.
Right. I agree so much. And just to kind of tag this on before we actually close out, that, by any means, this podcast or any other podcast that we will have should not be used for substitute, replace any therapy that you would need.
Right.
So, if you feel a need for therapy at all, period, if there's a physical crisis, you need to dial 911.
Yes.
If there's a mental health crisis, then you can dial 988. But if you are in need of therapy, by any means, get that professional, get that spiritual help from a professional counselor or a credentialed Christian counselor, so you can get what you need, right? That's important. Go get help. Go get help immediately. Amen? All right. So I want to thank you again, Cent, for helping me out and being my co-host. So I'm looking forward for more opportunity for us to have some great topics and subjects for us to talk about. So it's going to be good. I think the first one, day one, first episode was awesome.
Amen.
So thank you all, and God bless y'all. Bye-bye.
Anger management classes for individuals and groups. Learn how to be assertive, recognize triggers, stress and conflict management skills, and apply emotional intelligence. For more information, call 1-251-308-1919 or email Andre, ANDRA, at tlccounseling.online.